atomic gigantification was a sweeping Japan nation when along came a dude with an ultra attitude, a Kamen Rider who's the greatest kicker of Japan. And of all, man, life's too short now, baby, to not talk big now, baby.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, back to a brand new episode of Kaiju Conversation. I'm your host, Elijah, and joining me, as always, my always lovely co-host.
Hello, I am Rex. Rexino.
That's different.
Indeed it is.
Are we switching it up today?
Sure, why not?
Okay.
Variety is the spice of life.
This is true. This is very true. So we are back for episode 52 of our podcast. This is our second recording of the new year. And
damn, ain't that crazy? It's already gone by so fast, I swear. The month's almost over.
Yeah, I will agree there. The one thing is for sure, though, we have been working a lot.
Oh, boy.
But, hey, this is going to be the year of Kaiju Conversation, so we're ready to throw as much content as we can without killing ourselves at you guys.
Well, hopefully we don't do that part.
Yeah, I would like to not die, at all, preferably.
There's still at least a couple things on my bucket list first, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I almost died getting here. So, for context, it is snowing. It's snowing pretty heavily right now. There's snow on the ground.
Living in a country with snow.
Yeah, you could never.
So, yeah, I don't know what it looks like or feels like.
Well, it's wet and mushy, and if it snows too much and melts enough, it gets hard to drive.
Mm-hmm. So I've heard. So
they haven't treated the roads yet, and I had to drive 30 minutes to get here. So it's snowing. It's like midnight, and I'm driving here.
Mm-hmm.
And the whole time I'm like, this is what you would hear on the news. Local maniac drives at 100 miles per hour in a blizzard and wrecks.
Yeah.
And then it's and it'd be on the news, reportedly he was going to record an episode of his podcast when suddenly his car started slipping and sliding, and it flipped a few times before finally stopping in the ditch.
And we have an exclusive interview with his co-host, Rex, Yeah.
And then, did you know he was driving?
Yeah. He was messaging me, and I'm like, bruh, get off your phone.
Yeah.
Get back on the wheel. You probably should, pay attention. I just watched the movie Megan yesterday. Yeah. Driving in the snow didn't go so well for those characters.
I have not seen it, so I wouldn't know. But
what a shame.
Interesting.
There's a Einstein vs. Paragon reference.
Oh, I love that. We love to see that. So yeah, I could have died on my way here. I don't know how I'm gonna get home yet. I'm not gonna get home for another 5 hours.
Probably just sleep wherever you're staying.
Well, here's the thing. There's no reason to sleep because by the time I'm done, it'll be 7 a.m, so it's time to go back home. So, I'm going to go get donuts, as I always do, and then I'm going to go home. And I'm going to hope to God that they've treated the roads by 7:30. And then I'm going to go home, eat my donuts, go to bed, wake up, and do what I got planned for today.
Mm-hmm.
So,
oh, yeah, it would be today for you.
Yeah. We're recording later than normal, so I'm definitely not going to get home until, early in the morning. So, yeah, we're here. And we'll see if I ever record ever again. I actually recorded on my drive here. I did a little recording. It's this is Elijah Thomas, host of Kaiju Conversation. I am currently on my way to my recording studio in the snow, and there's a very likely chance of me sliding and dying. So this may be the final message you ever hear from me. This is Elisha Thomas signing off. Just in case I needed that, people find me dead and they look at my phone and that's the last thing they're like, oh, this dude's an idiot. Good to know.
You're assuming they didn't already know that part.
Well, I'm going to guess that the people who find my corpse aren't going to be the people that know me. I'm not that famous, Rex.
You never know. You might just ram into the house of your best friend or a family member or something.
Yeah, I doubt that, but maybe.
Although I suppose in the snow, probably not.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. But
this is what happens when you live in a country where it only snows in like very specific areas. You have no clue what it's like.
This is true. But beyond the fact that I could have died in the snow today, Rex, how have you been?
Pretty good for the most part. Holiday season's almost over, unfortunately, which means I'll probably get busier. But other than that, pretty good. Good.
Have you seen any Tokusatsu lately?
Yes, actually. Just a little bit before this recording, I actually finished Ultraman Deca, which just had its finale the other day, or yesterday.
Like the finale episode or the finale movie?
Episode.
Okay.
The movie comes out like next week, I think.
Yeah, it's like January 28th. I think it's literally...
Okay, yeah. Then that'd be next week. But outside of that, I watched Kamen Rider Fies, which was pretty good. I watched the alternate ending movie for Fies, which was not very good.
Just like the alternate ending for Evangelion.
Your opinion is trash. But with that comparison, I know you're not exactly the biggest fan of either ending for Evangelion, and in the case of Fies, I guess I can relate to that feeling.
That was a good link. That was a good connection. Good job there, Rex.
Thank you. Yeah, both endings kind of not the greatest.
Speaking... Oh, go ahead.
No, you.
No, go ahead. I was going to kind of veer off, so keep going, please.
Okay. Outside of that, I saw The Golden Bat, the 1966 film.
Okay, that had Sonny Chiba in it, did it not?
Correct. He's a scientist in it.
I love that.
I've seen Jewel and the Curse 2 and Jewel and Black Ghost, Space Amoeba, and the Meatball Machine short film. Okay,
so the short film you didn't... Because there's a movie, a short film, and then the movie sequel, right?
And then there's another short film.
Okay.
Yeah. I've watched the original short film only so far.
Gotcha. Yeah, I need to watch that stuff still. That's on my master list of Tokusatsu to watch.
Mm-hmm. And this last thing isn't quite Tokusatsu per se, but I watched the Female Prisoner Scorpion, the first two of those movies.
Nice. That was done by Nikatsu, right?
Toei.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, those are really popular. Like classic.
I haven't seen the third or fourth one yet, but the first two are really good. You would actually like them. You would probably enjoy them. They have some really interesting production design and lighting as well.
Well, I know Toei actually, like, I've watched a few of their, like, because that was late 60s, early 70s, and late 70s, right?
Yeah, the Scorpion movies are 72 to 73, the original series.
Because I've watched a few Toei films from that time, not their television, but like some of their films, and they were really weird. So like, it sounds like Toei was really kind of experimental during the late 60s and early 70s with their genre. I
mean, with these films specifically, this was so the ones I watched are the ones from 72. That was like around when they were just sort of getting into the exploitation type films. Because, back in that era, Japanese films were kind of on getting diminishing returns thanks to television and Ultraman and all that. So most of what was coming out was either American films, kids films like the Godzilla series at that time, and then these exploitation films with very little of anything else, really.
And that was right when Toei also started Kamen Rider, so that was right whenever they started really investing their time in
Kamen Rider still would have been airing at this point, and that's actually another show I'm watching at the moment. Original Kamen Rider, about 45 episodes through.
You've still got like 50 more.
Yeah, I know, but hey, all things considered, I'm going pretty good. Yeah,
I've heard some not so great things about the original show, but I'm holding out hope for a DVD or Blu-ray release of that, because I'd love to watch it.
Mm-hmm. It's certainly an interesting show, one way or another. It's definitely not as well produced as like the Ultraman movies of that time.
You mean shows?
Yeah. Shows.
Yeah.
Or even like the Scorpion movies that I was just talking about.
That's one thing I haven't watched Kamen Rider, so I'm not too knowledgeable, but I have watched Kikaida and the Kikaida 3D movie, which were produced around the same time as Kamen Rider. Mm-hmm. And I've noticed that Toei was not very... they were not a leading company in effects.
Oh, no. Have you ever seen some of the miniature effects in Sentai?
No.
Oh, yeah. I'll leave it at, you could compare them to like Heisei Godzilla.
Lovely. Like 70s Sentai can compare to Heisei Godzilla, or are we talking like
90s Sentai in terms of like the miniatures?
Lovely. Yeah, like I've watched a compilation film of Red Shadow named Ninja Scope, and the effects in that are not stellar. Same with Johnny Sacco, Kikaida. I started Kikaida 01, but like I was like, oh god, I can't do this right now. I just binged through Kikaida. I need a break from this.
Yeah,
and I say that with like I understand they didn't have the budget. I'm not bashing them. Mm-hmm. It's just I feel like it would be ignorant to act like those shows that Toei was producing were not, and like not going to say Tsuburaya was doing any better, because Tsuburaya started to really like degrade in quality by like 1973 as well.
Yeah,
everything was getting cheaper. Mm-hmm. And
yeah, but in the 90s, by comparison, Tsuburaya got a lot better, I'd say, visually, where like a lot of like Ultraman Tiga, from what I've seen of Tiga, it far surpasses, say, the Heisei Godzilla films of that time.
Mm-hmm. I mean, from what I've gathered, Heisei Ultraman from like 2000 to 2007, I think, was when Mebius was released. Like, that's better 2006. Than 2006. Okay,
yeah,
was better than what Toho was putting out with the Godzilla series. Like Nexus, I'd have especially.
Nexus. There isn't too much city action in Nexus until near the end of the show, to be fair.
Yeah.
But Nexus was also had a lot of budget cuts, to be fair.
Mm-hmm.
So
Nexus just had a production like it was awful. The production of Nexus was awful.
Yeah, that was a mess. Made even worse by like some mini controversies with the toys and all that.
Mm-hmm. And the sudden change of airtime.
Yeah, thanks,
which I've heard. Yeah, like instead of airing at night when it was supposed to, it ended up airing in the morning, and it was not a kids show, so it just its ratings were horrible. But that's for Nexus. We shouldn't be talking that deep into Nexus.
But still, God damn it, Gundam Seed. Apparently that show isn't even any good.
But yeah, and like Toei is, I would say, the leading tokusatsu like producer. I would absolutely say Toei makes more tokusatsu than any other company in the world.
Mm-hmm. Definitely in the Henshin Hero department.
Mm-hmm. Because they did Golden Bat in 1966.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure they did one in like 1960 as well. I know there's a Lost Golden Bat movie.
I have heard of that. I don't know if it was Toei that did that. Probably
I'm pretty sure it was. I'm pretty sure it was Toei.
It probably was.
And then I'm trying to remember if they did what's it called? Like Phantom Mask, or it was from
God, I think I know what you're talking about too.
It was it's a TV show, black and white.
Moonlight Mask?
Yes. Because that was that the 40s?
I don't remember.
Because that's like the first televised tokusatsu show.
Mm.
And I'm pretty sure that was Toei.
58.
58? Okay, yeah. And that was your first televised tokusatsu.
Yeah.
Which I'm pretty sure
in
was...
the Toei scope format.
So, like... and when it came to kaiju specifically, Toei didn't put out a whole lot, like film wise. They did the magic serpent in 1966, and I think that was their only contribution aside from compilation films like Ninja Scope, The Magic World of Ninjas, and like Voyage into Space, which wasn't even a Toei compilation film. That was done by Orion.
I mean, to be fair, there are some kaiju in, say, certain Kamen Rider films.
But that was all, like, later on. Like, early kaiju stuff, Toei was very much...
mostly out of the game.
And, I mean, they also co-produced Yongari, which was the third South Korean movie. So, that was kaiju at least.
Mm.
So, I mean, they were doing something. It's just they weren't doing a lot. But come like 1971, they were, they did Kikaida, Kamen Rider V3, Kikaida 01. Rainbow Man was around that time as well, the Tokusatsu television show.
I mean, Rainbow Man was Toho.
Was it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they're, Toei's going to do Toei, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And speaking of Toei, one thing I wanted to bring up, kind of like a little worrisome for me. So I mentioned Kamen Rider V3, which actually has a DVD release in America.
Yes,
through Generations Kikaida.
In this episode now has that DVD, don't they?
I do. I also have the entire Kikaida collection, all 9 volumes, Kikaida 01, the Kikaida reboot film.
Yeah, you're a masochist for your wallet.
Yeah, but the one thing I don't have is Inazumon. So recently, Generations Kikaida, based in Hawaii, had a anniversary celebration for Kikaida. But they marketed it really weird. It was like, this is the last time Daisuke Ban is going to be in Hawaii, which was a little worrisome. Huh. Now they're saying they're putting out some limited edition T-shirts, and they're saying once these are like sold out, they're never coming back. So I'm hearing some murmuring. Generations Kikaida is closing up shop, which means Kamen Rider V3, Kikaida 01, Kikaida Reboot, and Inazumon might all go out of print. In fact, there are listings for the Kikaida stuff that's sold out now. It's like volumes 3, 5, and 6, and the complete collection plus the reboot film are all sold out.
Damn.
So I'm like, oh no. So today I was like, I gotta get Inazuma. If I don't, I will end up paying like $500 for it. I am not going to do that. So I ordered that today. And another thing I got that was Toei is I nabbed Season 2, Volume 1 of Big Bad Beetleborgs Metallics, which Shout Factory is no longer printing VR Troopers or Big Bad Beetleborgs, the Saban adaptations of the Metal Hero shows. So they're like $50 to $180 to get each volume. Yeah. It's horrible. I got this for like $15.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So now I have the first 3 volumes of VR Troopers and the 3rd volume of Beetleborgs. So I still need Season 2, Volume 2 of VR Troopers, Season 1, Volume 1 and 2 of Beetleborgs, and Season 2, Volume 2 for Beetleborgs.
I see.
The funny thing is Michael Hamilton,
has all the ones you don't have.
No.
Oh.
Michael, who hosts the Power Trip podcast, which discusses Power Rangers, and they've thought about doing the other Saban shows like Masked Rider, VR Troopers, Beetleborgs, the Mystic Knights of Nog or whatever.
Yeah.
Michael has asked me now like 7 times, can I buy your VR Troopers DVD sets? And then he was like, do you have Beetleborgs? And this was like 2 days ago. He was like, do you have Beetleborgs? Because I'll buy them. I'll buy them up over retail price from you. I just want to buy them. I want to own them. I said, I don't have any. I'm sorry, Michael. So right after I talked to him, I went on my back channels that I have, my little links, and I found a copy of a Beetleborgs disc. And I was like, I'm going to buy it right now. So I bought it. And then I got it today. It was like 1 day shipping. I'm so happy. And it's official. It's not a bootleg. It is an official DVD.
Mm-hmm.
And I posted it in the group chat that I'm in with him. I'm like, I just got this. And he's like, how much you want for it? And I was like, $100. And I paid $15.05 for it. And he was like, if you ever want to sell it, I'm buying it from you. And I said, I know, Michael. I know.
God damn.
I am once again proving myself to be the Tokusatsu physical media king out of my friend group.
I mean, yeah, but that's because you're mental and have a problem. Well,
I also own the Lust of the Dead trilogy on Blu-ray, so...
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations. You should be... It's like an honor for you, I imagine. It
is. You know, that proudly sits by my Catgirls DVD and my Sexy Rangers DVD.
You should always show it to people who turn up at your house.
Yeah. I agree. I agree wholeheartedly. I should have like weekly showings of exploitative tokusatsu films.
You should. You actually should.
Yeah. And wait until we have... Wait until we on Kaiju Conversation have our exploitative tokusatsu phase, because let me tell you, that is going to be the best time of my life. I'm going to love torturing you through all of these.
Torturing me? Huh.
Are you admitting you would like it?
No, that's not what I said.
Huh. Though I have heavily thought about like having Michael on for Sexy Rangers because he does Power Trip. Or we've even joked about like we're going to do a bonus episode and it'll be Sexy Rangers for his podcast.
Oh dear God.
And I will do as much research as I can into it. Like, I will find any details on that film I can.
I don't doubt that fact. I don't doubt that.
I will happily be the Western king of knowledge for the 2009 film Sexy Rangers. Directed by Shinji
Nishikawa.
Yeah, because he did Suits, right? For the Godzilla franchise?
He did concept art for and designed a lot of the monsters for like Godzilla, Heisei and Millennium Godzilla, certain Ultraman series, as well as like Gridman and Dinosaur.
I love that. And I'm happy you know that too. I've taught you well, Rex.
Screw you! You didn't teach me that.
Okay, but if it wasn't for the fact that I brought that up, you wouldn't have known.
What?
We were in a conversation, and that's how you learned about it. Do you not remember this?
I don't remember what I ate last week or what I did last week.
You don't remember what you just said. Who's the one? It's 2 a.m. I should be the one that's like, I don't know what's going on. What's your name?
I'm not sure what my name is.
Oh, I love it. I love it. So anyway, speaking of not remembering, I don't remember.
Oh no!
What are we talking about? What is this episode based on, Rex?
Well, we've been talking a lot about Toei, you know.
We have, have we even covered a Toei film yet?
That's a good question.
I mean, we did Super Inframan, which was a Toei adjacent.
I mean, that was Shaw Brothers, but it had Toei crew, right?
Yes, Toei crew.
Yeah.
Let's see. Did we?
Well, I guess this would be the first Toei film.
I mean,
yeah, because we've done Dai, we've done Toho, we've done Subaraya.
And like we've talked a little bit about Toei, like through the 2022 Kaiju coming, and same with 2023.
Yeah.
Like we brought up Super Sentai and stuff like that. But
yeah, of course.
I mean,
we had like a whole 20-minute discussion about Toei.
Ju-on the Grudge was distributed by Toei, right? Or was that Nikatsu? I think that was
I know
Toei.
Toei Video did the Curse movies.
So Toei,
they probably did the Ju-on the Grudge too, I imagine.
So like we've talked about distributed Toei stuff, but we haven't actually talked about a Toei like produced film.
Production.
Yeah.
Damn. Took us 52 episodes to get to that.
Are we? So we are talking about Toei?
Yes.
Well, what do we?
Yes.
Please tell me it's something awesome like Hikaider.
I wish. I truly do wish.
So Rex, what are we talking about?
So, have you ever heard of a manga creator called Go Nagai?
Yes.
Yes. Well, in the 70s, he's made a few pretty popular manga series, such as Mazinger Z, which was supposed to get a James Cameron at a movie produced by James Cameron or something, but that's never happened. He did Cutie Honey, which has a 2004 Hideaki Anno movie as well as a TV series.
Yeah, Cutie Honey the Live.
Mm-hmm. And then there is Go Nagai's Devilman.
That sounds funny.
1972, which had a movie released in 2004.
Really?
Yeah,
hey.
Yeah. It was live action, you know?
Yeah, 2004 also saw Godzilla Final Wars.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
What a great year. What a great year.
I bet there was I bet there was no bad films that year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Ultraman the Next and Final Wars came out that year. Literally the greatest year in film.
Yeah, so so no bad films came out that year.
Well, I wish I could say that was true, but you know, there's when you strike gold, when you've got when you've got great fortune, to balance it out, you've also got a bit of misfortune, you know.
Okay, so what are we talking about today, Rex?
Today, we are talking about the 2004 flop, Devilman.
Oh, so that's why I have a synopsis here for Devilman. Do you want me to read it, Rex?
You even have a Media Blasters Blu-ray.
I do. In special edition Blu-ray. Do you want me to read a synopsis for this, Rex?
Feel free.
Okay. Hang on.
Jesus.
A big new budget adaptation of the long-running, hugely popular horror anime action created in 1972 by Go Nagai, a sprawling, apocalyptic, and violent tale of battling demons that has a considerable cult following. Any attempt to transfer Devilman to the live-action medium was always going to be an uphill struggle. It involves the accidental release of a demonic species from Antarctica. Ghidorah question? whose numbers spread via an infection, COVID-19, which corrupts and transforms normal people. This leads to an apocalyptic war in which humanity's only hope is Akira, a weedy teen who merges with a demonic entity to become Devilman, a powerful yet conscious beast that fights both monsters and fascists and brutal human forces trying to wipe out the new species. Akira is opposed by his former best friend and somewhat psychopath Ryu, who becomes an equally powerful demon and a host of other creatures that pop in and out of the story before it all conveniently finishes up with a climactic showdown.
So there's
I
the
should
synopsis.
never ask you to do a synopsis again.
I thought that was pretty good.
I should never have introduced you to that program.
I don't know what you're talking about. What program are we talking about?
Yeah, bold of you to assume that the audience has mental subtitles.
Oh, did you not understand a word I just said?
I could understand about 60-70% of it.
Oh, lovely.
And then the rest I got through having seen the movie.
Oh, well, there we go. I'm going to start trying to do that every episode.
No, don't.
Yeah, I think it'd be funny. It'd be great.
No, I'm gonna quit if you do.
I think that's great.
No,
not the quitting.
That part sounds great.
No. So, 2004's Devilman. Do we want to just jump right into the beginning of the film and just kind of talk through it?
Sure. I have a few notes on this film.
I just want to first say this is a really cool title sequence. I thought it was really cool.
Oh, that's right, because it starts with the flashback of Rio and Akira as kids, and then has the title sequence, right? Yeah.
Yeah, and then it's all it's fiery, like Godzilla versus Destroyer, but it has the silhouette of Devilman, which I thought looked really cool. I think that's one of the coolest visuals in the entire film.
It's one of the cool visuals in the entire film.
Yeah. But one thing I just want to jump right into something that I really appreciated about this film. I brought up Hikaider earlier, but it does a similar thing to Hikaider in contrasting the sides, like the dark is the good, the light is the bad. I love that idea. I think that's always a cool idea to go against the norm in regards to that. And, our main hero, Akira.
See, I would compliment that, but the movie didn't come up with that. That's just how it is in the manga.
Well, then props to the manga too. That's a great idea. I love it. I've loved that idea.
Mm-hmm. So you haven't seen any other Devilman, right?
Nope.
You haven't read anything.
I haven't watched the OVAs or the series or read the
manga.
And
you have not read the manga. Okay.
Nope.
Okay.
This is my only Devilman thing.
That's unfortunate.
That'll be a consistent thing for every live action adaptation of anime, books, or manga that we discuss.
Mm. Well, in preparation for this, I actually decided to read the manga. And in the past, I've also seen the 90s OVA. I've seen all three of the 90s OVAs. I've seen the Netflix anime, Devilman Crybaby, and I've seen the 009 vs. Devilman.
Oh, wait. 009, that was Shotaro Shinomori, right?
Yeah. Go Nagai was... Ishinomori was the mentor for Go Nagai.
Really? Interesting.
Yeah. So they did a anime crossover OVA in 2015, which was... It's pretty good. It's a bit too heavy on the 009 side, if you ask me, as someone who's never watched 009.
I actually, I just watched the live-action adaptation of that not too long ago as well.
Yeah, wasn't that directed by Sakamoto?
I think so.
I've been meaning to check that out.
But interesting.
Yeah, and I think that's about all that I've seen. I have not seen the original 70s anime that was airing around the same time as the manga was being published.
Mm-hmm. And I think Discotech's putting that out.
I believe so.
Put that out.
There is an old release of it, but I do believe Discotech's doing like a new Blu-ray or something.
Because I've seen the cover art for it.
Yeah. And that was actually a very Toku-inspired series. I mean, the manga is in its own right, but the anime, the 70s anime, is basically an Ultraman anime at certain points. Because he even goes giant like Ultraman.
So when was the manga published? Like what's our timeline? Like
it was about 1972.
Okay, so that was like right at the birth of like Henshin, which makes sense because I mean in all like if we're just going to break it down to its basics, I would argue that Devilman, at least from what I've seen in the live action film, is a Henshin.
Yeah. Devilman, it's a shonen manga, and it was very influential, largely just because of how it was a very dark and mature story.
I've heard it's
in comparison to what else was coming out around that time.
I heard it was very violent and gory and like suggestive.
Yes. Yeah, the movie actually tones that down a fair bit, honestly.
Okay.
A fair lot, I'd say. Yeah, no, very, very influential manga. It's had influence all across anime and Japanese media since its publication. Your favorite series, Neon Genesis Evangelion, took a lot of inspiration, as well as the very critically acclaimed Berserk series.
Okay, so I have seen Evangelion. So, out of curiosity, like where did it take influence from Devilman?
So sort of like the movie where the movie ends.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that sort of inspired like end of Evangelion.
Okay.
Probably a bit of the violence too, maybe. Sort of allowed for Evangelion to sort of come about.
Okay.
But yeah, no, very, very influential manga. But in spite of it having, prior to this film, two animated adaptations in the 70s series and the OVAs, there was actually no complete adaptation up until that point.
Okay. So, like, when you say that, you mean, like, there had yet to be, like, a show or movie or something that covers the entirety of the manga, right?
Yeah. So the 70s anime goes in its own direction, more or less, with, like, a demon general called Zenon who was in the manga, being the main villain. Meanwhile, the OVAs, they get to the first two cover like the first half of Devilman, and then the third one is a side story based on another spin-off manga.
Okay.
And then there was Devilman Lady, but I've never seen that.
Okay. And that was an OVA too, right?
I believe so. I could be slightly wrong on that. Wrong on that.
Okay. Now, for anybody at home, OVAs, if you don't know what those are, they're called
original video animation. So typically they were like short, like 40-ish minute shows or short movies, really, for some of them that were animated. So
basically, like if you know what V Cinema is, like
sort of
Kamen Rider J, Kamen Rider Zeo, Hikkaider were all, I guess, technically OVTs. Ultraman's also had a few OVTs, original video tokusatsu, is a term I've heard.
I mean, that could also, they could also be more like
just V
some
Cinema.
Of them are also there's different types of things. Like there's OAVs, which I think are ones that are just released straight to video, whereas OVAs get like, I think they get a theatrical showing. I'd have to double check the definitions of all these things. But yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it wasn't until this movie that we got our first complete adaptation And then in 2018, Devilman Crybaby was the first complete anime adaptation.
So when you say complete, like...
From beginning to end of the manga.
How big are we talking? How many volumes?
So the manga was about 5 volumes, which is around like... I think the total page count for the manga is like around 1,000 to 1,200-ish pages. Something like that. It's honestly not that long for a manga.
I don't read manga. That's wow.
It's not that much. It's not that much
okay.
Compared to like.
If that's what you say.
It's about. I mean, the Crybaby anime is about 10 episodes. So.
How long are the episodes?
20 minutes.
Really? So it's like one season.
Yeah.
Huh. Okay.
Yeah, there's only one season of it.
That's like 3.5 hours, roughly.
Something like that, yeah. It's, yeah. But yeah, meanwhile, this film is a bit under 2 hours.
Hour and 55 minutes. Mm-hmm.
With credits.
And English credits. That's with both credits and English credits.
Yeah, I have to make that distinction.
Yeah, because there's an extra like 5 minutes with the English credits.
Jesus. Yeah, this was certainly a movie that I watched in 2023.
So, okay, so this marks the first full adaptation.
Yes.
Which I didn't know that. So that's... Mm-hmm. So I take it there was a lot of hype around this? Because it sounds like Devilman's like...
There was actually a decent bit of hype when this was first announced. Up until the first trailer came out, from what I've heard.
Well, honestly, the first thing that I heard... Or not the first thing that I heard, but one of the things I heard was... The first two, like the main actors for Ryu and
Akira.
This was their first movie.
Yeah.
Both of them. First movies. Like not even like side characters, like first movies.
Yeah, and you can certainly tell.
Yes, their acting is like I was watching the dub. So I could understand and write notes easily.
Oh, you should have seen. Have you seen Akira's screams in the subbed version?
Is it bad?
Oh my god, you and I could do a better job.
So I'm going to be honest. Like the dub was not good.
Oh, I've seen clips from the dub. It's bad, but like. Not even the Japanese version is any good either. The three leads of the film, the two who play Akira, who I believe are singers, J-pop singers.
They look like it. They look like boy band singers.
Yeah, and then Ayana Sakai, who plays Miki. Those three, I think, are the worst actors in the film.
Yeah, and Miki actually.
Which is problematic when they're the emotional cause of the film.
Right. And Miki actually had done some acting. She was in Battle Royale 2.
Yeah, she had a little bit of experience, but not much before or after this. None of them really have much after this.
Whenever I went to... let's see here. Yeah, so when I went through Miki's... like filmography, I noticed that she had done Battle Royale 2, which, you know, we I don't think we've discussed any of the directors. That's what's his name? Oh, I'm blanking.
Takeshi Kitano or no, Kenji Fukasaku.
Yes, who had done like Message from Space and Legend of the Eighth Samurai and Battle Royale.
I mean, he only
did
one scene of Battle Royale 2, to be fair. I
think this is true before his
son who did Battle Royale 2?
Yes.
Okay.
She was in that. She was also in Boogie Pop and Others, which was another, I think, adaptation of an anime. And then she most recently was in like this anthology J horror, like V cinema film.
Oh yeah.
which I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. Like, I'd love to see that. See, it's from like 2012, so I bet it's absolutely awful, but.
Yeah, it's a shame that the lead specifically aren't very good at all, because everyone else are pretty decent actors. I mean, a lot of these are faces you'll see around Tokusatsu, like the Makimura father is Admiral Tachibana from GMK.
Did you know he was a composer?
Yes, actually. I actually did find that out, hear that when I was researching.
Yeah, and
what film was it?
So he composed Kamen Rider World, Shin Kamen Rider Prologue, Kamen Rider Black RX, the movie, Kamen Rider Black, the movie, and Kamen Rider Black, the TV series. I was like, that's really cool.
I didn't know he did a lot of the Kamen Rider. I knew I did hear he was a composer when I was researching this, but I didn't realize it was Kamen Rider. Huh.
Yeah.
But yeah, you've got who else was that? There was the Prime Minister from Shin Godzilla. There's Kamon, the protagonist of Ultraman Nexus, is one of the delinquents.
Okay. There was an actor in here who was in Tokyo the Last Megapolis, and he also appeared
Yeah. That's the Shin Ultraman Prime Minister.
Yes. You said Shin Godzilla, which was why I was a little confused.
I said Ultraman.
No,
you
said
was
Godzilla.
in Shin Godzilla.
You said Shin Godzilla.
Whatever, he was in Shin Godzilla as well.
Yeah, I thought that was really cool. Asuka's dad, right? That's not Ryu Asuka. His dad was in Gamera Guardian of the Universe, Gamera 3. Let's see here. I've got Kamen Rider the First. He was in that. He was also in Kabuto Godspeed Love and the Kikaida reboot film. He was also in the Kamen Rider Super Sentai and Space Sheriff Gavin crossover film.
Yeah. You even have a Garo actor in Mark Musashi.
I was going to ask you if she was, because I saw it's Karas the Prophecy, right?
Pardon?
What's the name of the Garo thing she was in?
Mark Musashi is a man.
Oh, I'm talking about somebody else. I think.
Which actor?
The girl that played the girl devil.
Miko? Oh, was she in Garo?
She was in The Great Horror Family, which was a J-horror television show. Karas the Prophecy? Is that the title?
Mm-hmm.
I put next to that Garo question mark. I was going to ask you because I thought it looked Garo. She was also in God's Left Hand, Devil's Right Hand. Which
okay, no, that is not Garo.
That's not Garo? It looked Garo-esque, which is why I was curious.
I have no clue what it is. It looks like some sort of anime.
Oh, well, this poster looked Tokusatsu. I'll
say it does kind of resemble Garo a bit.
Thank you. Thank you for giving me that bone.
It's the only one you're getting.
Thanks. But keep going with your actor.
You've got Keitaro, who is like, he's a character in Kamen Rider Kuga. He's like this supportive old man. I can't remember if he's actually Kuga's father or if I think he's like his uncle or something. I don't remember. But he makes a brief cameo in like 2 scenes.
Go Nagai also had a cameo as the priest.
Yes. He looks depressed. I know he makes a cameo in Cutie Honey where he's a bit happier. Yeah, and the kid. So Miko, there's this kid she's looking after named Susumu, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's a kid from Kamen Rider 5, because he looks like the kid at the end of the show.
Okay. Yeah, and the girl that's protecting the kid, she was in Ultraman Orb: The Origin Saga.
Oh, she must have been one of those twin girls.
Probably. She was also in Kamen Rider Movie War, and then a Shutsuke Kaneko film titled God's Left Hand, Devil's Right Hand.
Mm-hmm.
So the supporting cast...
And that kid was also in the What to Do with the Dead Kaiju and Sadako 3D. And Jellyfish
I love that. Oh, really?
Yeah.
So, like, the supporting cast is more qualified than our main trio.
Yes, they absolutely are.
And the director, Hiroki Nasu, I think I said his name.
Hiroyuki Nasu.
This was his last film before he died.
Yeah,
and he had been doing films for like decades.
Mm.
And I was kind of surprised when I heard that. I was kind of like, this dude's a seasoned director?
And the film was written by his wife, believe it or not.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, Machiko Nasu. She's still alive at the moment.
Okay. So, like, it all except for your main cast is, like, seasoned.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much.
But it doesn't show, like, at all. It doesn't show.
Yeah.
Like, do we just want to jump right into our notes on the film?
Yeah.
Okay. We kind of just went through all the cast and crew, so. I guess I'm going to jump in and just... So, it was released in 2004.
Mm-hmm.
And we brought up Godzilla
October
Final
9th,
Wars.
2004, when it was originally scheduled for a May release.
Oh, okay.
It was postponed due to A, reshoots, and B, to polish out the effects. So, yes.
Oh, that's funny. Oh, that's funny.
It
that's
was
great.
It was delayed due to reception to the first trailer.
I love that.
So this film was actually a combined production between Toei's Tokusatsu division and their anime division under the joint name of T-Visual. So during this movie, there's actually very brief, more brief than the sources that I was reading this on imply. There are very brief frames in the movie that are actually like 2D animated.
I noticed a few of those, yeah.
I only noticed it twice, and I only noticed it once in the movie, and then when I was looking at clips again, I did spot one other time.
Two sounds right to me. That sounds right.
So they make it sound like it was more of a like half the way the sources imply it sounds like it's sort of like, or not quite half anime, half live action, but in the actual movie it's like barely any animation at all.
Unless you just want to count the CGI.
Unless you count the CGI, yeah, that's true. Unfortunately, that is true.
Yeah. The CGI reminded me of like Final Fantasy movies, like the animated movies.
Yeah, this is like this makes video game cutscenes look really good. This makes like Predator Concrete Jungle look like it has a 10 out of 10 like Avengers Endgame style visual effects.
Yeah, but it's interesting you brought up the Tokusatsu side, because there was actually like when the war started, like it looked like they were miniature buildings.
Yeah, there's a few miniature effects, especially at the end fight between Akira and Ryo
with the columns.
Yeah, and there's also some makeup effects on like the lead actor for Akira at a couple points in this sort of half transformed state of Devilman.
So like there's some decent Tokusatsu effects, but one of the worst Tokusatsu aspects is I was bringing up Godzilla Final Wars. And that film is full of fight choreography.
Yes.
And like they had Takasuguchi come in, and like Ryuei Kitamura is well versed in fight choreography and whatnot.
Yeah.
What is the fight choreography? Like, what is this? What is it?
Yeah, this movie is... It's something. Like,
the fight choreography is all over the place, and it doesn't...
I mean, the first fight is over, like, just as soon as it begins between Devilman and whatever that second demon, that other demon is supposed to be.
The turtle?
No. Oh, I'm gonna go on a rant about that probably.
Okay.
But like the first demon, that's just like a blob of mush.
Oh, that's right. Oh, yeah, it was like 5 minutes. Not even 5. It was like a minute.
5 seconds.
Yeah.
He slashes it at it like once and it's dead.
Yeah, it was Godzilla Final Warsing it. This film is like Godzilla Final Wars. It even looks like a mid-2000s movie.
We're not comparing this to Final Wars. Final Wars is good.
Some people would probably compare it. Just saying.
They're wrong. They are wrong. But yeah, you got the Silene fight, which is the demon bird girl.
Oh God! When they were
was one of the most visually nauseous scenes I've watched in a while. Every
time they punch each other, like the camera's like shaking, and I'm like,
and then there's feathers going around everywhere, and then Rio just shows up and it ends.
Yeah,
that was so weird because in the manga, what happens is there's another demon called Kaim, who's sort of like he's a 4-legged demon, and they merge together.
Okay.
But eventually they turn to stone because they were basically destined to die from the merge.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's an important scene to sort of like set up that demons can actually feel emotions like love, which plays into the ending of Devilman. God, this film. I just have so many thoughts about this film that it's just.
Then let's get
so
into
hard
it.
To get.
Let's okay. So let's collect your thoughts. We're talking about.
I have them in notes.
Okay. So this first fight, it ends very abruptly, or the second fight, I guess.
Yeah. It's like what did Rio do? did like where did Silene go? In the manga, she's like turned to stone pretty much, but here it just fades to black, and it's like, okay, guess it's over now.
I mean, we are told like she loved the demon that Devilman is, but like
that's true, but like it's
dropped.
It's just such a weak way of introducing that idea that is pretty important to the final scene of Devilman.
Yeah, because like it's now that you mention that it's like the complete adaptation of the entire manga, now I'm starting to understand like this film is like the basics of the entire story. It like doesn't.
Oh dear God, you have no idea. I mean, the first big issue. Okay, so we're gonna have to backpedal a bit.
Go ahead.
Rio, Akira gets bullied, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, and then Rio tells him about the demons and all that they exist, and takes him to a car, gives him a VR headset. I think given the fact that it's a 70s manga, you can kind of imagine that's not quite how it goes. In the manga, it's like a mask, but it's a fake mask, and there's actually a demon that's just giving Akira and Rio some visions. And
that sounds a lot cooler than the VR mask that he's wearing
shows, like,
as their
video
that he's wearing while driving in this convertible sports car.
I was just shocked when I saw that VR headset. You have no idea. And then so Rio brings him to like his home, shows Akira his father, who is still alive till he isn't. Where in the manga his father was already long dead.
Yeah, and that demon thing was so like that's the demon that takes over Akira, right?
Not.
Like, can you explain that? I'm so confused.
So in the manga, they go to Ryo's house and Ryo explains everything to Akira, right? But then they get attacked when they're on their way to leave, so that Akira can make his decision on whether he wants to become a Devilman or not. Oh yeah, quick thing: this movie doesn't establish that Akira and Ryo have a mission where they want to save humanity from the devils, because they're the only ones who know about it and can.
Okay, hey, hold on. Okay, now you're confusing me. So, in the film, I'm just going to talk about the first 20 minutes, and then we'll get to the rest. So in the film,
it's going to be another 3-hour recording.
So in the film, it establishes that Akira is like Akira and Ryu are best friends from childhood.
Yes,
they grow up together, the best of friends. Ryu already claims to not be human; he's a monster, and he wants Akira to join him so they can be.
Actually, he doesn't want Akira to become a demon in this. It just happens because the doors open and the sperm.
No, because he's like, one day you'll become one like me. In the kid sequence, when they put the masks on.
Oh no! I mean, like, during the scene where they're in the room.
Yes, I'm getting there. Mm-hmm. Then we fast forward. We time jump. A lot of jumping happens in this movie too, and I will talk about each moment where it's very clear.
The pacing is horrific. The pacing is horrific.
So okay, so then we jump ahead. They're teenagers, high school.
Yeah,
Akira's family's dead. He lives with this cute chick and her family. Yeah, that also gets,
which is similar to the manga, although his parents weren't dead. They're just like barely mentioned.
Okay. Ryu lives with his father. He's really rich. He's living off on his own. He doesn't have any friends. Whereas Akira's like the opposite of that. Friendly, nice, has a family, all that. So
Ryo's also a complete psychopath.
Yes. So Akira gets bullied, and Ryu defends him. And like
with God and shiz.
Yeah, but like Akira then tries to like not have that happen because he doesn't like that. He appears to not be a violent person.
Okay, in the manga, Akira. So this movie does a horrible job of contrasting Akira from before he was Devilman and Akira from after he was Devilman. Because in the manga, he starts off as a very, very wimpy sort of boy.
Okay.
And then he becomes basically sort of like the bad boy stereotype after he becomes Devilman.
Okay.
This movie does not have that contrast at all. He acts the same throughout pretty much the entire movie.
Yes.
Outside of he just has powers.
That also, I think, is from the fact that the actor literally has no idea how to act.
Definitely.
So, okay. I'm trying to, like, establish everything, and then you tell me what it's missing.
Mm-hmm.
And then after, like, the whole bullying aspect, Akira finds out that Ryu's father is dead. That's when he finds out that there's an energy source that's actually just demons waiting to be released. They go to the mansion, go into the basement. They find Ryu shows Akira his father. His father dies, and then this demon comes out of nowhere as they're like just chilling, and Ryu reveals to Akira, I have a demon, please kill me, which makes no sense in the grand scheme of things. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah, so you want to know why that doesn't make sense?
Yes.
Because at this point in the manga, Ryu had no clue he was Satan.
But in the movie, it's established that he's always known.
This is literally the biggest twist. This is the big twist in the manga, that Ryu is Satan. And it is spoiled 15 minutes into maybe even the opening scene when they were kids.
I mean, in the opening scene, it establishes that Ryu is not normal. Mm-hmm. And he knows that.
yeah, this film was very heavy-handed with its foreshadowing.
Yeah. So then, out of like an accidental thing, Akira gets
powers, which is not how it goes in the manga.
And then literally out of nowhere, a devil appears. Like literally out of nowhere. Yeah,
it just appears, which it kind of makes sense in the manga because like the demons were chasing them, and Ryo talks about how any demon strong enough that for us to be taken over and have a chance of saving humanity with would be able to just teleport through the door. So they're in like a party environment so that they can lose all reason, so that they themselves can become a devil man, which is something that happens under specific circumstances for the individual.
Okay, so explain. So Ryu doesn't know he's Satan. Akira doesn't want to be a devil man per se. He's debating on it because he's given the option to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, so in the manga, Ryo the entire reason Ryo, finds Akira and brings him to his mansion is to ask him if he will help him save the world and become a devil man.
Okay, so the twist that Ryu is Satan is like really big because
the big twist in the manga. There's some build up to it later on that is completely not done in this film, if any sort of.
Right, because in this film, it's pretty much established Ryu doesn't want, like, he wants the world to burn, and it's
and then they just have a throwaway line reveal that he's Satan.
Yeah.
This movie is just
okay. So from here, Akira becomes Devilman, kills the devil, wakes up, kind of like Tobey Maguire Spider-Man style.
Yeah. Wonder what they were ripping off.
And then from there,
his hoodie disappears between shots. By the way.
Yeah. So he's shirtless, right? Right.
Yeah.
And he looks in the mirror, and you're almost expecting to be like, "When did I get abs?" Like Tobey Maguire Spider-Man. So from there, the feathers fall, and then that's when we get the next demon. And she's like, "Let me show you." And then we're very like, it's not established very well, but Devilman doesn't remember that he's who he is. So can you explain that a bit?
Okay. By that means the demon itself, the demon that has merged with Akira, which is named Amon. Cyrene. So this film suggests that Cyrene and Amon were lovers in a sense. So that's what. So she's trying to get Amon back.
So is that because when Akira took the demon?
So he's got the body of Amon, but it's still Akira's mind.
How? Is that ever explained?
So in the manga, yes, there's a very specific set of circumstances that you have to be in to become a devil man.
So there's multiple.
Yeah. So like Miko, for example, in both this film and in the manga, she's one of the devil men. And in the manga, there was a whole, like, near the end, Akira finds a whole army of devil men and uses them to help him fight against the army of demons, rather than in this film where he just fights on his own.
Okay. See, that makes more sense because in the movie, it really and honestly just feels like it's a pointless battle because it's like the humans are fighting themselves and the demons are fighting the humans. It's like there is no way you can win. This is a depressing, horrible, horrible story. So in the manga, it's established that you have this like this army of devilmen that are fighting the demons to save humanity.
Well, once Akira gets them all together, then yes.
Okay. And then you have humans fighting humans and the demons, and you have the demons fighting the humans.
Yes.
Okay. So it's less like, what's the point? Because honestly, through the entire film, I'm like, what's the point of even trying? What's the point? There is literally one dude trying to fight everybody, and it's obvious he cannot beat everybody.
Yeah. I mean, the entire idea is that Ryo and Akira know it's borderline suicidal, but they're the only ones. Ryo believes that Akira's the only one who can truly do it.
In the manga?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because again, Ryo doesn't know he's Satan yet, so he's actually trying to fight the demons.
Okay.
God, so we're at Cyrene, and then
Cyrene...
we're introduced to Jinman, which is the turtle.
Okay. Wait, but because we're jumping ahead a bit. So the fight happens, Ryu comes in, stops the fight, that whole thing is dropped, then Akira wakes up again. Like, same thing happened again. We find out that Devilman has powers to regeneration. It just takes him a while. And then from there, he goes back, but while going back, he finds demons. Or no, then demons appear and they're eating people and all that.
Yeah, then... Jinman shows up, eats some people. And then there's this character named Ushiki?
The artist?
Yeah, who was previously Akira's bully in middle school, who almost lost his fingers due to Ryo and his garden shit. That is such a crazy scene, because I'm not gonna say Ryo was the most normal person in the manga, but he's not that psychopathic. So when the bullies are bullying Akira early on, Ryo shows up and then he pulls out a gun and threatens them. But he never does any. He still seems somewhat sane in the manga.
Okay.
He's not a psychopath in the manga up until the end where he finds out he's Satan.
Okay, which makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So, in that regards, the film's writing makes sense. If he always knew he was Satan, he's always crazy. That makes sense. It just creates this very boring character.
Mm-hmm.
You have no love for Ryu in the film. And that's one of my biggest issues. Is they try to create a reason for you to care about and like this character. Right? That's what I tried to... That's what I was picking up. But it doesn't go through, because throughout the entire film, you're like, this dude's an a-hole. Why are we liking him? There's no reason to like him.
Yeah.
There's no redemption. There's no, tragic backstory. It's just, this dude was always an a-hole. There is no reason to like him.
Yeah.
They even say that in the movie. They're like, why are you friends with him? He's a horrible human being. And he's like, no, he's not. What? Because he saved you by trying to cut a dude's fingers off? What? How is he not a horrible human being? You have no room to talk. There is nothing you can say to make this better.
Dear God. But yeah, so Ushiku is a movie original character. For the purposes of the Jinman sequence, he replaces a character from the manga named Sachiko, who was this little girl that Akira knew and was well acquainted with.
Okay.
So she got eaten by Jinman in the manga.
Okay.
Yeah. And so during the Jinman sequence, he is, the build up to it is that he sees her face in the darkness, and then finds Jinman, who starts taunting Akira. Whereas here, Jinman is just some random demon trying to eat, having his lunch.
I thought that was an interesting idea. I like the idea of
I think it's an interesting idea on its own, devoid from the original scene.
Like, it creates this reason for why the demons shouldn't be villainized.
Sure, but the thing is that the demons are the antagonists of the story, and B, this sequence was supposed to show Akira that, you cannot save everyone. You are not going to be able to save everyone as Devilman. This is a very important sequence for Akira, and all of that is basically lost.
Yes, because
Ushiku's just like, kill me now, and Akira's like, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Punches Jinman in the back, in like the face of Ushiku, which is replicating a panel from the manga, minus the Gamera reference that they cut out.
Dang.
Because Jinman can fly like Gamera.
Oh my god. And they cut that?
Yes.
Okay. This film's getting worse.
Yeah, 0 out of 10, no Gamera reference.
Yeah.
Like, I'm fine with replacing Sachiko with this Ushiku character. I think that idea is fine. I think he actually fits in better, given that this version of the story places has a slightly more heavy focus on the school.
Mm-hmm.
Since, like, Ryo didn't go to the same school Akira did, for example.
In the manga? Okay.
Yeah. So, yeah. Like, I'm fine with that change.
It almost would work with the school if it wasn't for the fact that besides the artist, the sister lover, and the two main characters. Yeah, we'll get to that. And the two main characters are the only ones we focus on in the entire school.
Yeah. The others just exist.
It feels like they were trying to go for like a haunted school, like full of bullies and like bad people, almost kind of like an Uzumaki thing. But so much, from what I'm understanding, so much is crammed into the story that it is like
the first 15 minutes of this movie is 2/3 of the entire manga. Like, they cram so much, they cut a fair bit. Like, there's actually a sequence in the school where a demon attacks the school, and it's like there's like these spiders that's on everyone's heads that can control people.
Mm-hmm.
There's a whole sequence around that's been completely cut, which is fine. That's probably one of the few sequences where I'd say you could probably cut that.
Yeah, because I think the idea was the film is trying to portray the demons as like straight up brutal killers. Like, there's no, like, controlling. It's literally, they're just out here to kill anything and everything and eat. Or kill anything and everything, based off of the human's view. And then the demons are like, well, we're supposed to eat too. So it's trying to create this complex of, like...
Yeah, but it doesn't do it well at all.
No, it doesn't. It's trying to create that where, like, the demons are just like humans, but... the humans are the food, and then it's also trying to say that the humans are awful. From what I gathered, essentially this story's message is like humans are awful and they're self-destructive. Like, this film is just depressing.
An idea of like humanity being the real monster prevalent in both this film and the manga. It's like a lot of the themes in the manga are horrifically downplayed in this one, like where there was the existence of demons led to a rise in like racial tensions in the manga.
I picked that up. Like, you can tell that idea is in the movie, but it's like the idea.
It's there, but it's at its barest minimum, and it's horrifically downplayed.
Yeah.
To like, there's a scene of like a coworker just reporting another coworker who doesn't like. That's almost
and if it wasn't for the fact I live in 2023 America, I probably wouldn't. Well, I probably wouldn't pick that up. Like, just it's due to the fact that stuff is so relevant that I can pick it up even if it's a subtle thing.
Yeah, because like in the manga, like the existence of demons leads to like warring nations and like a lot of like racial panic where like people are blaming the demons, are like going to say the black community is going to use this to stand up against us white people, or the Jewish people are like going to be mad at us Germans, etc., etc.
And that's what the manga tries to set up, is like using demons as almost like war weapon.
The demons are a catalyst for war. Like the World War III aspect of the manga has a lot of build up to it, a decent amount of build up to it. Whereas in this film, it kind of just happens.
And it's all because they use the plot MacGuffin of the newscaster kind of trying to make it bigger.
Oh my god! I can't. It's an MMA fighter, and it's not even. Oh my god! There's. I hated that when I realized what character in the manga that was supposed to be.
Mm-hmm.
So you know, in the scene near the end where he has like 3 faces.
Yes.
I didn't realize this when I was watching the movie, but when I was rewatching a clip of it, I realized that is supposed to be a character named Zenon, who was the general of the demons. Oh my god, that annoyed me so much, because like in the manga, the war starts with him showing up across the globe, like his shadow literally towering over every city, and him declaring war on humanity.
In this, it's him reporting it slowly and then revealing.
And then at the end, he's a demon with 3 faces. I hated that so much when I realized.
And the writing, because in the dub, they don't dub over him. Like it is him, like from the Japanese. The writing for him at the end is atrocious, because he's like, "We've won, everybody! Goodbye, human race." And it's like,
this film.
It's like Don Fry did a better performance. I'm going to continue to compare this to Final Wars.
This is the only place where I'll allow you to compare it to Final Wars.
Like, okay, here's the thing. Both films are very anime inspired. Both films feature like a world war. Both films cover like infiltration and destroying of the human race, and both have big booms at the end, and one is clearly better than the other, and both have an MMA fighter.
One is a godlike film. But yeah, this movie, I was, during this movie, after around the 50-minute mark, after about that Jinmin sequence, I started to get genuine anxiety from like, how can this get any worse? I was genuinely anxious at this could not get any worse, and it did get worse. God.
So, okay.
This is such a hard movie to talk about, even though I have so many notes.
Well, let's keep going. So we've went through the Jinmen moment.
Was this one the subplot with Miko and the
little
kid?
Yes. In my notes, that's what I've got here. That's the next thing. Or no, the next one I have is the establishment of the Devil Law, which I did like the whole devil.
Yep, with the demon cause, whatever.
Yes.
Yep.
Which I like the idea that that's like a corrupt, like government is corrupt and like they're just using it, like the whole racist thing and whatnot. Like I can tell there's I can tell there's an idea there that's really good. It's not good in this though, because it's just
like a throwaway line in this.
Yes,
and that's what that's part of what really annoys me, is that a lot of the most important moments, thematically and emotionally, are just relegated to like throwaway lines, like with that, or throwaway sequences, like with the Jinmin sequence of Akira coming to terms with the fact that not everyone's gonna live.
And like in your hero's story, that's a
very important moment.
Yes.
It's a very important moment in Devilman as well.
Yeah, because like the whole idea is like the hero can save everybody. Well, no, he can't. Like this is such a big worldwide event that he cannot.
Oh, this is a heartbreaking moment for him, especially in it's unfair to compare this to the adaptation that came later, but in Devilman Crybaby, it's changed to be, instead of like a little girl or a high school friend, it's changed to be Akira's parents, where his dad merged with the demon Jinman, and then his mother gets eaten.
Okay.
So, and that's like a deeply traumatizing experience for Akira.
Yeah, because he ends up like his mother. He sees his mother.
Her face.
Yeah, and then kill his father, which that sounds like even more of an emotionally like wrecking event.
Yeah,
like that's a change I like. That sounds pretty interesting.
I think the Ishiku change is okay because I mean, I do like having it that it's a character that isn't just introduced at the start of that volume, because Sachiko is like introduced just before her death. So like I think having it be a character who's introduced earlier, that's a good change. But yeah, going back to the Susumu and Miko on the playground.
Yes.
That's a sequence in the manga. It's 2/3 sequences in the manga that have been turned into an entire subplot that diverges greatly from the manga.
Yeah, in my notes, I've got the side plot is cool. Like it's an interesting idea. I like the idea of like characters on ground zero. Like that I like.
And so I think it's interesting with Miko specifically, how her role in this has been increased greatly from the manga. Because in the manga, she's a pretty minor character who merges with a demon and becomes a part of the Devilman army. And it's interesting because this and a few other things in this movie seem to have influenced the Devilman Crybaby anime, actually.
Really?
Yeah, because there's like, for example, earlier in the film you didn't mention this, but there's like a perverted like videographer or something, or photographer.
Yeah,
spying on Miki.
The reason I'd bring that up because it's literally pointless. There is nothing that provides to the entire story. Yeah, even when it's supposed to be relevant, it's not relevant.
I remember it comes relevant at one point, like sort of near the end, but I don't even remember.
Well, so the videographer, the dude that's spying, like he's madly in love with her. He and somebody else are doing a demon patrol on.
Yep. Okay, yep.
I don't know if you want to stop there and like just keep moving till we get to that point, because that's a whole nother discussion point.
Yeah, because I just wanted to mention how like that guy in the Crybaby anime, he's a photographer who sort of exploits cute Japanese women, like a lot of photographers in Japan do, from what I hear. But yeah, and eventually, so Miki's in his place, and a demon possesses him, and Akira fights that demon to save her, etc., etc. So I think that sequence is inspired by his existence in this film, because there's no character like that in the manga. No. The demon is in the manga, but that's that's like just before Cyrene shows up, because she has that and another demon attack the Makimura household.
Now, Cyrene, that's the
bird one.
Okay, yep.
But yeah, and I should also mention that Susumu, when he's introduced, instead of it being Miko who's there, it's actually a character who's been cut out of this, Miki's younger brother Taro, who's honestly kind of an inconsequential character. He's just there for a bit of comic relief and to die. There. And in the manga, this kid sort of he comes home, both his parents are demons, and then he dies off screen. And there's like no build up to that. There's a little bit of build up with like him talking about his mother being like a it's heavily, he doesn't know she's a demon, but like she's been acting strange and all that. And then
in the film, there could have been a great like child abuse like potential plot there. Like they kind of set that up, but it just
yeah. I mean, it's not that substantial of a scene in the manga either. It's actually less substantial in the manga than it is in this. Honestly, given how much the movie rushes through things, I don't understand why they kept in this subplot if they weren't having all the Devilmen join Akira at the end.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you could have put this time into a lot more important sequences, like the Jinmen sequence.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because like honestly, the whole like if you with a few rewrites, of course, if you rewrote and like cut Miki and the kid out, you could have everything still happen the way it happens.
Yeah.
Like there is nothing the only thing they do is pad the runtime and give our characters like 5 minutes of something to do.
Give a little bit of hope at the end.
Yeah, I have a whole nother thing about that too.
Yeah, we'll talk about that as well.
Because their relevance ends up being like why the family dies, but you don't even need them because they're not even like seen.
Yeah.
Like nobody actually knows they exist. And even when they could have set it up that they exist in the house, they never did.
Mm-hmm.
It just happens.
And then after this is when they go to that other mansion that was like the demon's nest, where the anti-demon corpse or whatever they were called is attacking.
Mm-hmm. Which is out of nowhere. Like there's no establishment. They just show up.
Yeah, I thought that was really weird. And then we get the Satan reveal, which
it feels boring. It's nothing.
It's such a nothing moment. And that's an insult to the sequence in the original manga where Ryo is sort of having this existential crisis of he had predicted everything that was going to happen up until that point. So he's like, how do I know all this? Why do I know all this? So he goes back to his father's mansion, looks through things, realizes that the photos in the mansion are of a different person named Ryo Asuka. The demon mask that they saw the visions in was just a dud, and eventually realizes that he himself is Satan through a demon called Psycho Genie that isn't in this film.
See, that sounds interesting, but it's also I will say this, that sounds a little confusing.
It makes more sense in the context.
Okay. Because
it makes more sense than my explanation.
One thing I will say, I do kind of agree with the idea of like, if you were Satan, you would definitely know it. And I kind of like the idea that the whole time he's deceiving. Like, I think it's an interesting idea. The whole time Ryu is just deceiving Akira, but it doesn't work in the context of the film. Because
I don't exactly remember why it was part of his plan, but it was part of Satan's plan to forget that he was Satan. And so I think it was Psycho Genie had sort of erased his memory on that. And then he was supposed to find out on his own. I don't exactly remember why.
Okay. I mean, like, if they explained it, maybe, but, like, in the context of the film specifically, it would make sense if it was written better.
Sure.
Like, the idea...
I don't think it's a horrible way of doing it. I think you can go without Psycho Genie with a similar approach to this film.
Let me kind of explain my reasoning behind this real quick. So, in most religious beliefs and things about Satan is, the devil, and Satan lied to Eve about the apple. Satan's whole thing is lying. He lies to everybody to get what he wants. And because of that, he is the devil. He's the opposite of God, who doesn't lie, who is honest and pure.
Mm-hmm.
So the idea of Satan, knowing he's Satan and lying for his entire life, makes sense. The issue is his actions do not match his statement, because throughout the film, he appears to be Satan. Like, he's just a cold-hearted a-hole who doesn't care. That's something Satan would be. But if Satan was lying about being caring, that would be an interesting idea. And like, you could use that idea, and I think it could work. The idea that Satan is pretending to care, like how in the Bible, Satan pretended to care about Eve to have this, infinite amount of knowledge if she ate the apple. So it would fall in line with kind of what the biblical Satan is, and I think create a more interesting villainous character that you would hate more because you thought he cared, but in all reality, he doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that sounds interesting. That could be an interesting story. That could create this.
I mean, some of that sort of is in Rio's personality, particularly like just before he learns he's Satan, when the demons declare war on humanity, where he's like, "No, Akira, do not go out and fight. Just let the people die."
In the movie?
In the manga.
Okay, yes.
Yeah, so then there's scenes of people suspecting each other and killing each other.
Which could have been really metaphorical and whatnot, but again, it just kind of...
It could have gone into that sort of aspect of like the themes of racism and like the idea of like the racism and discrimination sort of idea. It could have gone into that, but it doesn't.
And
doesn't decide to be thematically relevant.
I will say there was one scene that almost was, metaphorical, which was when the three more overweight men, they killed the businessman, and then like this couple was walking and they killed the guy, they killed the husband, but they just picked up and like was manhandling the girl. Like, that could have even went into even more of like taking advantage of people and like rape and women, and like they could have made that an even more interesting idea of the corruption and like the
corruption of like humanity.
Yeah, like that could have been an interest. Like they touched on it, but they did not expand upon it. And
they dipped their toes in the ideas presented in the manga, but they just dip their toes in it, and that's all they do. They take him out immediately after.
Right, because like, do I want to see a rape scene in a movie? Not really. No, no. That's already.
You did play Lost in a Drug.
Yeah, I did, and I've seen Wolf Guy. But the point I'm trying to make is like, they could have made, like, they try to say humanity is garbage, and like, yeah, I mean, we ended up creating World War III over this, and we see like clips of people turning against others, but we could have expanded upon that and created this very interesting and like,
the only part where they do it with the deaths of Amaki Moras. But there's a lot about surrounding that and surrounding how the world actually ends in Devilman. That is a race that just downplays that theme of humanity, because at the end of the manga, just before Devilman and Rio's final fight, the demons just stop. They don't attack. Humanity just destroys itself.
Which is a good idea. I love that twist. Like, they don't have to destroy, because we'll do that ourselves.
Yeah, they just do one wave. They do one wave of attack on humanity, and then they're done. They just leave the rest to the humans.
And that, what was it? There's another tokusatsu that kind of explored that idea. Oh, what is it? Or is it Kaiju? No, it was Shin Ultraman.
Oh.
Right? Isn't in Shin Ultraman they established that humanity... Yes, with the beta boxes. They touched on that like event, that because that's what that's what Zerub wanted, was to, right?
Oh yeah. Zarab wanted to
have humanity just
to destroy itself,
which is a great idea.
Boxes, yeah,
which I think is a great idea. Like that idea of that we are naturally this destructive race of animals is a really.
I mean, as well as that, in the manga, you got to remember as well, with the manga, it was written while the Cold War was still going on, as well.
That creates so much context
of Russia. That there's a bit with Russia getting invaded by the demons, and so tensions between them and the US go massively to the point where nukes are launched. And then that leads into the introduction of something that is completely cut from this film, which is heaven and the existence of God.
I mean, there's the question, is God real? Like 3 times in this movie.
Yeah, but then they never do anything with it.
No, they don't.
At one point, like just before, like halfway through the final battle between Akira and Ryo, the whole of Japan or the world gets leveled.
I will send you a photo of my notes when we get to that point, because I'm not going to comment on that right now, because like I want my conclusion to be on that.
Where I was very confused whether that was like a nuke, whether that was something the demons did, or whether that was meant to be heaven. Because that's what I thought at first. Because in the manga, it's just like white. It's just bright white light rain down from the sky, and then they turn everything to salt.
Okay,
but yeah.
So we were wrapping up on like the corruption of humanity, and it really segues into more of the subplot that I feel like if we keep talking about the subplot, it's pointless. It's a pointless subplot. It doesn't matter.
The one?
Yes, they end up going to Akira's house.
Yeah,
they fighting.
And Akira's dad also finds out he's a demon.
In the manga?
No, in the movie.
Oh yes.
In the manga, he does find it out, but like, the uncle, whatever. He finds it out, but he finds it out just before the Makimuras get killed, and they all find it out in that scene.
Okay, so
Rio puts it on TV.
So his reveal of being a demon is out,
and it's hilarious. I need to show you the clip of the sub version where he just missed the Admiral Tachibana. That's just what I'm going to call him. Looks at his arm, and then Akira just screams, and it's like, oh. He makes that sound. I need to show you the clip. It's amazing.
I can't wait to watch this clip. So.
And that's a nice scene, to be fair, when like Admiral Tachibana stands up, and like, does Miki know?
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to treat you like nothing ever happened. I like that scene. That is a good moment for Mr. Nakamura.
You know what would make it even better?
What?
If they established the idea of like this racism or this like this oppression against demons, like even better. Like that would have been amazing. That would have been great. That would have been a perfect message. Perfect. Oh, we also skipped over the sister love romance thing.
Oh yeah. I mean,
let's go back and because does Miki know, like that question is relevant because after Akira comes back to the house after becoming Devilman, Miki walks in and like they fall on the bed and he's like, in the dub. And tell me if this is the writing in the subs. In the dub, Akira says, "Do I make you feel awkward?" And she says, "No." And he says, "Good." And then they go in and they kiss and make out.
No, it's something like, do you like me like this? And then she's like, yes.
Oh, God. So it's cringy both ways. It's awful. It's awful.
It's worse because we're missing that contrast between pre-Devilman Akira and post-Devilman Akira.
Yeah.
So it that doesn't work at all.
Also, this is like his stepsister or like sister-in-law, and this is like
it's weird. It was a bit weird in the manga where like as well where I mean, to be fair, in the manga at least he doesn't like call like Mr. Makimura his dad in the manga. So, but like they
uncle.
also no, he calls him his dad in the sub.
Oh,
in one like during the field scene where he finds out.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, in the dub, it's all uncle. So cousin? Oh God, it's Alabama. Oh God, it's Alabama. Oh God.
I mean, yeah, because like
God,
Miki is like
we got Southern up in here.
In the manga, after he becomes the bad boy, she just becomes basically his simp. Like there's lines like "You turn me on, Akira," like this.
So it's the idea that the girl's like the
infatuated by the bad boy.
So okay, it was like the whole bad boy turns girls on thing. Okay,
yeah.
I mean, it would make sense. It makes sense. Spider-Man 3 up in here. Devilman is like Japanese Spider-Man, specifically the movie. Devilman 2004 Spider-Man, but worse.
It's Spider-Man 3, but worse.
Yeah. It's Spider-Man 3, but not Sam Raimi.
Spider-Man 3 before Spider-Man 3.
It's Japanese Spider-Man, but not in the right ways.
Jesus.
So we can move on from the loving cousins, loving sister.
Yeah, it's weird.
It's weird.
The best way it's handled is in Crybaby, where it's more like just a brother-sister sort of, a pseudo brother-sister sort of relationship they have. There's not
like
really a romantic
a brotherly love.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. I mean, that makes sense. Like, I think in Demon Slayer, in that anime, I don't know if there's a manga for that as well. But in that, the main character, his whole thing is like saving his sister and like his love for his sister. Like that's what keeps him going, to make sure she's safe. I don't know if you've seen Demon Slayer, but
I have not.
Okay, that's what I've heard from some of my friends. So
okay.
We are going like really weebish in this. I've noticed.
I mean, it is based on it is based on an anime or manga, so it's only inevitable.
And we just hit the runtime, at least in the recording. We just hit the runtime of the movie with the English subtitles. So if you think we've gone on too long, let me tell you, the movie has definitely hit that point by now too.
Oh yeah.
So let's
horribly paced.
Yeah, so let's get back. We're like at the last. We're at the 75% mark. So the Miki and the boy go into the house. They're like, they take him in, which would be nice if we had more of the establishment of like the prejudice and like the racism, like metaphors and oppression.
Yeah, I mean, for what it is a decent moment with the Makimura family. Like, I do like this sequence, this little bit. I think it's a waste of screen time, but I do like it.
Yes, and this is me just even stretching it. I'm trying to be more metaphorical. They could even have done the whole like you can hide in like the wall or the ceiling and do like a whole like Nazi thing, because in Japanese in like Japanese media, like especially from like the 70s when Devilman like was coming out, you do see a lot of like Nazi like metaphors.
Yeah.
So, like, they could have done that. It'd be on the nose, but, like, if they wanted to just be more on the nose,
it could work. It could work. But I think how it's done in the film is also fine.
It's fine, but, like, they could have gone deeper, in my opinion.
Sure. Yeah, they get kicked out, but no matter what, the family is still reported to the demon cause.
Mm-hmm. So earlier, because I said I wanted to come back to this earlier, okay. the peeper, he and this random dude are like, you need to join us in like the neighborhood watch for demons, and all they say is, no, that's the government's job. And then they're like, are you demons? Are you hiding them? And then they see the girl, and then like they get reported. It's like
you see, it would make more sense in the context. That would make more sense in the context. I guess it kind of makes sense in this film's context.
Well, because in the Peepers, supposedly, I guess it's like hinted at. He sees Miki and the boy go inside the house. Like Miko. They don't show that. But I kind of picked up that that's kind of what they're alluding to.
I'm pretty sure they did. I feel like they did. I feel like they did show that, because I didn't actually realize that the other neighborhood watch guy was the peeper.
Yes.
I thought it was just a separate character.
No. And because whenever they end up, so they get reported and then they come and like try to find the demons. They've already kicked the girl and the boy out. And then that's when Akira is taken. Mm-hmm. Which, by the way, during this scene, it's pouring rain, and then all of a sudden the rain's gone. Like, I know that's like me being like very nitpicky, but I mean,
here's the thing: it's not the only time something like that happens in the film. Like that hoodie I mentioned earlier,
the hoodie disappears, and like it drives me nuts because it's like it's pouring down rain, and then all of a sudden the rain's gone and it's sun shining and daytime, and I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Is that your mood of this movie?
Yeah. A part of me wishes I fell asleep during the movie.
So on my first, so I'm going to stop the discussion real quick to kind of jump on what you just said there. On my first watch of this movie, I fell asleep after this scene. After this scene, I fell asleep until the very end. And I didn't care to like put it back in and watch it. So like this is like the first time I fully watched it.
Mm-hmm.
I fell asleep because it was like, okay, after this point, I kind of don't care.
Mm-hmm.
So jumping back into what the film is covering. So Akira, reveals himself to everybody to save the family. He gets taken away, shot, and killed. And then
even
killed
though
in air quotes.
Open and he looks to be breathing to me.
Yeah. And then it cuts to the neighborhood demon watch raid the house. Yeah. And like this is a nice moment with the family again. I loved the fact that before they die, the mom and dad, she, at least in the dub, she says, let me ask you a question. Were you ever unloyal? And he says, why would you even ask that? Of course I wasn't. And like, that's the last thing they talk about. I think that's a really like nice, heartfelt moment.
That's in the sub version too. But in that, he's like, no, I haven't. He says, no, I haven't. And she's like, that's a lie, but thank you. And then they die.
I don't like that. I
thought like it was fine up until that last line she says. Then I'm like, you didn't need to include that, Ryder.
Yeah,
you didn't need to include that. That kind of sours. I like Admiral Tachibana and GMK. Don't ruin him for me.
Yeah. And then they die, and then the love interest dies.
Yeah. They have the line about her saying like, I'm a witch, which she claims she's a witch, which in the context of this doesn't really make sense because no one called her a witch. Whereas in the manga, everyone's like, kill the witch, kill the witch, kill the witch. And so she's like, yeah, I'm a witch in defiance. And then they have this whole, there's a more elaborate last stand in the house. The parents are actually in a separate facility. They were like taken away by the demon cause and were tortured. So it's actually Miki, her little brother, and the delinquent characters.
Okay.
Because the delinquents end up becoming friends with Akira in the manga.
Okay. And like in the dub, at least, like they're all demons. Let's kill them. So they think they're all like it adds to the whole oppression thing and whatnot. At least the oppression thing in air quotes.
Yeah.
And then they just kind of like give up. Like they're carrying knives, but they're like, they're coming in. Goodbye. And they all die.
Bro, in the manga, they had like they were making like Molotov cocktails and all that.
See,
they had an actual last stand.
Yeah, and like it felt horrible to just watch them get obliterated by the horde of people, and like the Peeper has like this weird redemption, but he's also just a weirdo, so it doesn't matter. He tries to stop them from like killing her because he likes her, but he just kind of gets pushed away. It's like, okay, cool. And we care why? Like there is no reason for this.
Yeah.
This character is quite literally pointless.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't understand why create this all new character but then cut some of the most why cut the important moments in the why cut down the Jinman fight? Why cut down? Oh, this movie genuinely frustrated me watching. Yeah. Like, oh my god.
Go ahead. Keep going.
Oh no, I was just like, oh my god, when I watched this film. Like,
well, you haven't really mentioned the manga, like, for a little bit, like the storyline, like up to this point. Where are we at? Like the death of the family.
Yeah, so Akira went on his own mission to like go help the Devilman, which is where he finds Miko being like subject to like torture and tests in like a kind of ridiculous looking facility. The one that Miko and the little boy escape from in the movie is actually, that's one nice change. It looks like an actual real building. In the manga, it's just some like downright cartoonish evil fort.
Lovely.
Yeah, so he rescues them, tries to save Miki's parents, but you know they're dead already, and that's when the mob comes to attack Miki's house, kill her brother, etc. And then, so in this movie, Akira just walks back to the house after pretty lackadaisically. I probably butchered the pronunciation of that word, but whatever. Just walks back, expects the Makimuras to be there like nothing's happened. Doesn't see them, realizes they're dead, goes upstairs, and sees Miki's head impaled on a pike.
Yeah, the whole head is just like I was shaking my head the whole time, like, what the heck?
Okay, so this, and then Akira has the funniest goddamn scream in the movie. In the manga, this is one of the most impactful sequences because it's not just the one head on a pike just there. The whole house is on. Akira comes to see the whole house is on fire, and then the mob is there, and they're parading the various body parts of like the delinquents, Miki's little brother and Miki. They're parading them on sticks and like doing like almost ritualistically, like throwing them up in the air and all that. And then Akira kills them.
And see, that would be interesting because, like, throughout the story, Akira's like defend the humans, and then he like snaps. Like that could be an interesting character moment.
Yeah, he's like, it's a good character moment for him in the manga because because in the Crybaby anime, that's where he loses his faith in humanity. But like in the manga, it's in the sequence just before in the demon corpse building, where he's like, "You humans are worse than the demons." And then he's like, "But I still have one person I want to protect." Then he loses that person he wants to protect. Yeah, and all emotional weight of that moment has been completely lost by the terrible, terrible visual effect of Miki's head on a pike.
And then it cuts to him walking, which I think the idea here is cool. He's walking through a destroyed city.
Yeah.
And the only thing that's not destroyed is the church, which would make sense if the church had any religious weight. Like
Also,
in some...
I swear, the music in this sequence is... I don't know
really
if it's
good?
ripped out. No, it's like beat for beat a track from the Halo games.
Really?
Yes.
In my notes, I put that I really like the main theme. I thought it sounded pretty good. Like, I can tell it's the main theme.
Like, that track played, that somber track played, like, when Akira's walking by. There was just one moment where I'm like, hold up, I've heard that before. I've heard that somewhere else. It sounds like a track from specifically Halo 3, which came after Devilman. But it could honestly be a track from the original Halo. I'm not too sure.
Okay.
I thought that was really odd and thought it was noteworthy enough to mention here.
I mean, fair enough. Like, I thought the music was decent, and now it sounds like that it was just ripped.
I don't know if for sure if it was ripped off or if it's just like a really odd coincidence. But it beat for beat is a definite... There's a track in Halo 3 that beat for beat sounds like that moment.
I see. So he goes to the church. He sets the head down. And then, like, he reminisces about a scene earlier where she's like, let's get married and have a ton of kids and have them running around the house. It's like,
yes.
Okay.
Yes, this movie is a big fan of Alabama.
And then, like, Ryu walks in, and then the way according to the dub and the way I interpreted it, Ryu deliberately had that demon there to create Devilman. Like, essentially it was the Ghost Rider plot line of, like, Ryu created Devilman to be his right-hand man. And he liked Akira so much that he wanted Akira to be his right-hand man. And I'm a sucker for that because Ghost Rider is my favorite Marvel character. So I like the idea of, like, the devil created this ultimate creation. And he's like, F you, devil. I'm going to screw you over.
Yeah.
So that's the way it was told in the dub. I don't know if that's how it is in the subtitle version.
From what I recall of the subtitles, it's more or less pretty close to that.
Okay.
It's pretty close. That was sort of like when I was just like wanting the movie to end at this point.
Yeah, and this is something I was going to bring up. Once the family dies, it starts to drag on because he walks to the church, and maybe they could have just had the finale at the church. But from here, the Final Fantasy cutscene fights, PS2 graphics.
Oh, God.
Go overload. They destroy the church. And then they go underneath the church. Like, this is where...
That was a really odd location, I thought.
Yeah, this is where... Okay. This is where, in my notes, and I'm just going to quote my notes. Quote, WTF happened, ? How did we get to the end, ? Because they go from the church, it blows up, down into, like, the basement, but it's like this huge, like... What? And, like, there's columns... pillars and like, and they're fighting, and then like the world blows up, and then the world becomes hell because all the people are like forming this mountain of bodies.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And like Devilman and Satan are like fighting, and Devilman like creates this like cosmic entity being.
He goes full Gara Goldstorm, creates just giant Devilman fire ghost thing.
And then like a group of demons like come up and are gonna. I don't understand this end.
I did not understand it at all.
These are my last three notes.
So in the manga, there is so the ending is a very short bit where it's like there is a 20-year time gap where Akira has recruited a whole army of Devilmen for one last confrontation with the demons.
And by this point, the world's destroyed, right?
More or less, yeah. So, like, and there's even like an Orochi. There's just a giant Orochi demon. Yeah, Akira, and it's only this sequence is only like a few panels long, and then by the end, Akira, the demon army is seemingly more or less defeated, but so is the Devilman army, and it's just Akira and Ryo on the beach, on the beach, like at the end of this.
No.
I mean, they're on like a rock or something.
No.
What?
This. I hate this so much. This ending is god awful. This movie like aggravates me. My last three notes are what I read. The end is effing horrible. I wrote at the end is effing horrible. It's so confusing. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, how? So the demons all die, and then the Satan and Devilman like do one final like the Dragon Ball like, or like Godzilla Monster X like run at each other and hit each other, and like,
oh, that was dumb.
And then like they both die, and like everything just like stops looking like hell on earth, because I interpreted it as hell has been brought to earth. That's what Satan wants to do. There are beliefs in religion and religions
the whole world is destroyed, but like Miko and the kid are there to.
That's next. I'm going to complain about that next.
Repopulate? Question mark.
So,
that's a bit sus.
So, and then like it cuts, and then Akira's like torn in half in human form, and
which
then
is accurate.
Ryu is like, don't die, please. And it's like, dude, like, you're Satan. You don't care. Like,
okay, in the manga, it works better because of the previous sequence with Silene and Kaim and their love. And then also the fact that Ryo in the manga is not a complete sociopath through the entire thing.
Mm-hmm.
He's an actual character in the manga, where in this film he's certainly an antagonist.
Well, like the whole, like I brought up the whole story, like the devil makes something and it backfires. So basically, it establishes that Akira's a tool. Devilman's supposed to be a tool, and the tool backfired, and Ryu's still trying to get the tool to work. He's got the whole "come to the dark side" speech in the church. So, like, I can't think that he loves him, because this whole time he's just been trying to use him.
This version of Ryo, absolutely not. It's done terribly in this film. Absolutely terrible.
I can't like this ending because it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't follow everything that's pre-established. Hell, the whole ending just jumps from one to the other, and like at the end, it's like the whole world's destroyed. How did we even get here?
I still don't know what the hell that nuke thing was. I'm so confused by it.
It jumps around so much that I don't understand what's happening. And then we get the worst thing ever. It cuts to, so it looks like everybody's dead. Like at this point, basically everybody's dead. But somehow, the
Miko
kid
and Susumu survived the nuke in Japan.
And like it's nice and like it's nice out. There's like blue sky, it looks like, and like they're just like, oh, I had this vision of Earth, and then he's like, well, it's no longer that. And then it like they stand and like they insinuate that they can bring it back, and it's just them. Maybe there's more. I don't know. It's like Final Wars, except Final Wars, there's plenty of people that it would make sense. It would be okay. And then it zooms out, and then everything turns back to red and gray, and I'm like, what is going on? And my final notes of this movie are question mark, question mark, question mark, question mark, seriously, WTF, question mark, question mark, question mark. I don't understand what this movie's trying to be. It doesn't make sense. It's stupid. It's dumb. It's awful. It's awful.
The end theme song is kind of nice, though.
I've checked out. I'm done. Like, it's like, thank God this movie is over because this final fight has made no sense.
Mm-hmm.
It is awful. It doesn't have any emotional weight. It doesn't matter. It looks awful. Nothing in it makes sense. It feels like they just cut like 50 pages of this script out just to have this final fight be the final act of the film.
Devilman 2004 for you. What do you expect from this movie?
I don't know at this point. Like, this is awful. This is literally the worst thing ever.
This is the worst movie we've covered on the podcast.
I agree. I wholeheartedly will say this is the worst movie we've covered on the podcast. This is the perfect example of taking source material and doing a basic adaptation with nothing. They don't even try to make it look good.
This is how not to adapt
anything. Yeah.
Yeah, this is just how not to adapt a manga or anime into a film.
And I feel kind of bad because this is our first manga anime adaptation.
Mm-hmm. I mean, adapting a manga or anime to a film has a very bad reputation. But there are some really, really good examples. And I'd argue that some of the really good examples are more famous than their source material. Say, like, the original Old Boy or the Female Prisoner Scorpion movies.
Mm-hmm.
Like, those are based on, like, Japanese manga and anime, but those...
Even Alita, I've heard. Alita Battle Angel, which is an American adaptation at that.
Yeah. Where, like, you know, there's this interesting trend of these adaptations which are more popular than their source material, whereas this film, at least in the Western Front, is more or less forgotten. Not a lot of people know about this. And then the other films like Death Note 2017 or Attack on Titan, despite my opinion on Attack on Titan being a bit of the opposite, those are infamous for being bad. Those are known for being bad adaptations.
And I feel like that's unfair. And I think that's the point you're getting across is like Devilman's existence is like a sin of its own.
Yes. Yes, it is. There's a reason why I've heard that apparently every year on the anniversary of this film, just Japanese Twitter users mourn the release of this film. even the absolute legend Beat Takeshi called this film one of the four most stupidest movies ever made, and that there is, quote, nothing better than getting drunk and watching this movie. and supposedly this film was voted as the worst Japanese film of the entire decade of the 2000s.
I would not be surprised. Like, the thing about this is this film could have been good. Like, I feel like I've tried to provide, like, what I would do differently. Like, adding subtext.
I feel a live-action Devilman adaptation can work. I'd agree with you there. I think visually, just lean more into that Tokusatsu element. Come on.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, I don't think it really I don't know if it'd work as well as a movie unless you split it into multiple movies.
Sure, like 2 or 3 films.
I'd say a trilogy could work. I think a trilogy could be.
If Devil May Cry Baby could cover it in about 3 hours,
Devil May Cry Baby.
Devil. Oh God. That's my cue that I should go to bed.
Yes.
Devilman. If Devilman Crybaby can do it in about 3.5 hours, surely you can do that within like 2 to 3, like 2 2-hour movies, or 2 or 3 like hour-and-a-half long movies.
Yeah, or even just like a short live action TV series, even around the same length as Crybaby. Mm-hmm. You could do a live action Devilman. This is just not how you want to do it.
all weight that could be here is gone, and that's my biggest issue. There's no weight. There's no metaphorical subtext. There is nothing. This film feels like a catch grab.
What little is there has just been so downplayed that it may as well just not be included.
Yeah. And, I'm a little sad that this is our entry to Toei Tokusatsu, because Toei has put out plenty of stuff. I'm sad this is
probably the only Devilman you're going to ever watch, knowing you.
Probably.
Like, this is a sad way to
experience and my Devilman journey.
Yeah, ending it as soon as it begins. I mean, okay, I can understand, like, if someone were to watch this as their introduction to Devilman, I would understand not ever wanting to touch Devilman again.
And see, I will say this, I'm sure that, like, from what you've said, I'm more interested in this anime, the Devilman Crybaby, and the OVAs.
I would highly recommend either reading the manga, checking out the OVAs, or watching Crybaby on Netflix.
Like, I'm sure those are better from what you've said.
They absolutely are, in almost every single way imaginable.
It's just, and it comes down to this. It comes down to the fact that currently I'm just trying to get through the Toku I've got, and I'm not interested in picking up anime.
Or literally just sit down for the 10 episodes of Crybaby.
Do you know how little time I have?
I don't care.
I literally, I finished the movie, drove here, and recorded an episode on it. That's how I know so much about this movie, is because I literally just watched it. I had no time.
But yeah.
So with that being said, I don't want to be like a broken record. I've said everything.
We've talked a lot. This has been longer than I think either of us anticipated.
Yeah, this is about an hour longer than I thought, to be honest.
I mean, once I started getting into the notes, I was like, oh no, this is gonna be longer than we predicted.
But I feel like this is a good, this is a solid episode. This isn't gonna be overfluffed like the Shin Ultraman. This is a solid recording.
I mean, again, if nothing else, at least some elements in this movie inspired Crybaby and were done pun not intended, a hell of a lot better in that series.
And I will say this: the film is awful. Don't go in expecting a good film.
This is one of the worst films I've seen in a while.
But I will say, and this is just my whole thing, if you are on a journey of Tokusatsu, just put this on and just have fun with it.
If you got friends and you got some, and if you're of the legal age to drink alcohol, then by all means,
have fun with it. It might be
This is a great movie for that sort of experience.
Mm-hmm. Because it is 100% a laughingstock. It's not good. But it just go and don't expect good films. Don't expect a faithful adaptation. Just go in.
If you're a Devilman fan, if you're an anime fan, actually, and you think that there's no, and you think that you've seen the worst live action anime adaptation and you haven't seen this, you got to check this out.
Have you seen Dragon Ball Evolution?
I have not.
I haven't either, so like I can't comment. But I've heard that's like the worst anime adaptation ever. I was going to see if you've seen it and then be like, which is worse?
Hey, the way someone justified it to me is that compared to this film, at least that tries to do its own thing. Whereas this tries to adapt the manga and it's as much as it can in the 2-hour runtime and just fails. Perfectly.
Yeah. Well, with that being said, I think we should go ahead and wrap it up. We're about at the 2.5 hour mark, so
yes,
this will be a good spot to kind of wrap things up here. If you guys, I try to like have something for you guys to interact with. If you guys want to, if you've seen Dragon Ball Evolution, watch Devilman and let us know which one is worse, which is the worst anime adaptation. I'd love to hear somebody's opinion on that.
Mm. And hey, if you just want to complain to us about Devilman, that's absolutely fine. I'm willing to listen.
Fair enough.
Think of it as like group therapy.
With that being said, our last episode, Shin Ultraman, actually received a little bit of discussion.
Oh,
and yeah. I'm pulling it up right now to see if there's anything I can pull up and just mention here, because we appreciated all the interactions and like posts. So right here we've got, this is all from our Discord server. Me falling asleep during Shin Ultraman reminds Vent their experience of Shin Godzilla, where a man was snoring in front of him during the scene of Shin Godzilla shooting his atomic breath. His answer to the question about the Specium Ray: in a 2014 Ultraman documentary, we were shown that the classic Specium beam for Ultraman is still drawn by hand, but on a digital tablet. So there's a cool little tidbit of info I bet nobody expected to learn. And they said the optical filter definitely was not used because it was tied with the camera. And then we had another person mention they heard a guy snoring in the theater, asked if it was me.
That's probably you.
I was not snoring.
You probably were. How would you know?
Because I can hear myself. And then that is all of our mailbag for that episode. So with that being said, why don't we go ahead and link ourselves? So Rex,
this episode's almost over. Woohoo! I can forget about this movie.
So if the lovely people want to hear more and just see more from you, and I don't know, where can they find you?
Well, you can find me A, on YouTube at Rexino, B, on Twitter at Rex_Xenomorph, C, Instagram, Rex_Xeno, and D, if you want to check out some of my writing, check out the Tokusatsu Network.
I also want to point out that you didn't successfully go through this episode without talking about Ring, because you did bring up Sadako DX.
Did I?
Yes, you did. You brought it up. You mentioned that one of the actors was in Sadako DX.
Oh, Sadako 3D. Yes.
Or
yes,
Sadako
yes,
3D,
yes.
So you once again failed at going through this episode without mentioning Ring.
I don't mind. I like Ring.
As
what's
for
wrong
me,
with mentioning Ring?
Nothing. I'm going to continue.
What's wrong with Ring? What's wrong with Ring? Don't you like Ring?
You complain about how I forget every movie we talk about. So I'm going to point out that you failed to not mention Ring. So you did mention Ring. Yeah, double negative.
Oh my god!
What are you laughing at?
You're an idiot. You should have gone and done what Rio should have done and sought help.
It's 4:30 in the morning.
I don't care.
I've been up.
Go to like the convenience store.
And do what?
I don't know. Get counseling from the worker.
4 a.m. gas station employee giving life advice. Yes, I've done that before too. I've done that before. That's an interesting experience.
Oh dear God!
Because the man ended up asking me out, and that's where that story's gonna end. If you want to talk to me or hear from me, you can go on to YouTube and find me at ET13 Productions, on Twitter at ET13 Productions, or on Instagram at ET13 Productions. If you want to find my personal accounts, go right ahead. I'm not going to tell you where to find them, but it's not that difficult. And as for the podcast, if you would like to support us, if you enjoyed this episode and everything that we have mentioned, don't forget to rate us on iTunes. That boosts our ratings and helps us get recommended to more people just like you. If you don't have an Apple device, which I don't blame you, I can't even say that because this is the first episode where I'm recording with my MacBook. But I don't have an Apple device besides the MacBook. You can rate us on Spotify. They now have that option. Or you can tweet us and follow us on Twitter at KAIJU_CONVERS. If you don't have Twitter, you can follow us on Instagram or like us on Facebook. If you're like me before podcasting, you don't have any social media, lucky you. You can email us at kaijuconversation@gmail.com. All lowercase, all one word, you know the drill. And as always, we'll read your reviews on air for everyone to hear. We also have a Teespring store. Eventually, we'll have original artwork on there. But until then, we have our awesome logo you can sport on a t-shirt or a phone case or a mug or even socks. You want to wear Kaiju Conversation socks? Go right ahead. If you'd like to chat with us more, check out our Discord server. You can also chat with others discussing similar things to what you like. Recently, we had a discussion about, let's see here in our general one.
Hopefully not Devilman.
It looks like the conversation was about Godzilla 2014's design and the lack of support for Shin Godzilla and how it didn't connect with Western film audiences. So a very interesting concept and discussion there, if you ask me. So it's a great
episode goes to that.
Yeah. So it's a great community full of a lot of great people. Definitely recommend it out. Definitely recommend it. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell so you can be notified anytime we upload a video. Sometimes we post exclusive to the channel like bloopers or 4 episodes, mini-sodes talking about news or other subjects. We also have an interview with Mechagodzilla designer Jared Kerchevsky on the channel. I probably butchered his name. I apologize. And a huge thanks to Rex for editing these episodes and the other content we upload. Like he said, check out his stuff. His links can be found in the show notes below. Along with Rex, we'd like to give a huge thanks and shout out to Danny DeManna of the Godzilla Novelization Project for his amazing vocals on our theme song, and Grattan Conwell from Giant Monster BS for composing the music for our theme song. You can find Danny on GodzillaNovelizationProject.com or Grattan on Giant Monster BS on any podcasting platform. And with that, I think we are officially done talking about this horrible, horrible movie. Thank you guys for handling this situation with us and staying all the way to the end here. And with that,
we're sorry for you.
And with that, we're going to wrap things up here. So thank you guys again. And as always, please remember, life's too short to not talk big. Bye, guys.
Bye.
We are set, we are in debt. There's nothing to sweat. Life's too short now, baby. Kaiju. Not too big now, baby. Conversation. His name's Elijah, baby. And also Rex now, baby. We love the those kaiju, baby. And you will too now.